The energy on the planet is really intense right now, and you may be feeling a little bit like crap. Aches and pains, fears, insecurities, worries, old beliefs, all of these things may be coming up and swirling around you. And you may be wondering, what the heck is happening? Why is this so intense? What's going on? And the answer to these questions is that we are now living in a new energy called the fifth dimension. And in this video, I'm not only going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what the fifth dimension is, but I'm also going to share 2 essential skills that we must all learn in order to navigate these challenging but beautiful new energies. Coming up. Hello, beautiful soul. This is Christina Lopes, the Heart Alchemist, here to help you open your heart, heal your past, and live with purpose. If you're new to my videos, click on that subscribe button and also hit the bell so you're notified as soon as I publish new content. In this week's video, I'm talking about the intense energies that we're feeling on the planet, what it means for us, and also sharing some really important skills to help you navigate these energies with more peace and joy. I've divided this video in 3 parts. In the first part, I'm going to go over and define what these new energies are, or what's otherwise known as the fifth dimension. In part 2, I'm going to kind of review why 5D energies are hard on the mind and the body. And then in part 3, I'm going to share 2 essential skills that we must all master in order to navigate these beautiful but challenging energies. When you get done watching this video, let me know in the comments below how you're feeling about these energies and what you're doing to try and keep balanced and centered. I love hearing your comments and how you're doing. Now, let's get started with the video. Okay, so on to part 1. What is this new energy on the planet? So this new energy is commonly known as the fifth dimension. I don't know, maybe you've heard of this term before or not. The fifth dimension is basically, it's a level of consciousness or an energy that's been around for a while. So it's nothing completely new on the planet, but the difference now is that the fifth dimensional consciousness is coming in strongly, more strongly than it ever has before, okay? So what is 5D consciousness? 5D consciousness simply means that it's unity consciousness, okay? It's a consciousness based on love, compassion, kindness, oneness, understanding that me or someone else, we're the same, we're one and the same, okay? So this is what's known as unity consciousness. Now, for thousands of years, we've had 2 levels of consciousness kind of operating on the planet, side by side. This is why so many times people say to me, you know, I don't know why some people are living great lives on the planet and ascended lives on the planet, and then other people are struggling with like violence and chaos and fear and all of this, okay? And the reason is because there are essentially have been 2 levels of consciousness on the planet up until now. One of them, and this is the one that's been around for the longest time, is 2D or 3D consciousness. And what 3D consciousness is that's the consciousness of separation, okay? That's the consciousness of fear. That's the consciousness that says, that's my country and that's your country and I'm going to go to war with your country because you did something to my country, okay? So this is the level of consciousness of separation, of fear, of violence, of chaos, okay? And so 3D has been coexisting with 5D for quite a while. And 5D has been kind of more and more people have been going into fifth dimensional consciousness, especially in recent decades. But even since the times of the great masters like Jesus or Buddha, there were still 2 levels of consciousness. There were some people, very few mystics like a Jesus or a Buddha, that existed in 5 or 6 or 7D consciousness. These were really high consciousness masters. They existed while the rest of the world was living in this low 3-dimensional violence and separation-based consciousness, okay? So this has been around for a while. 5D has been around for a while. What is new in this energy is that now the planet herself is actually pulling us all up into 5th dimension with actually trying, and she's succeeding, and we're helping her succeed, trying to kind of integrate 3D consciousness into 5D consciousness so that pretty soon 3D consciousness will no longer exist. It will not not be a possibility on the planet, okay? That's where we're going. So this is just a brief overview of what fifth dimension means, what fifth dimensional consciousness is, and a difference between the fifth dimension and the third dimension. Okay, now on to part 2. Why is this energy so challenging? Okay, so fifth dimensional energies are beautiful energies. This is the energy of just divine, high ascended unity consciousness. So it's a really beautiful and powerful energy. It's amazing energy. It's an energy that's much closer to our soul signature, right? Because we're all unity and love and compassion, right? But these energies are also challenging, at least temporarily, because it takes a little while for us to get used to new frequencies, especially the mind and the body, okay? So I'm not going to say the soul because the soul has no trouble. This is the soul's original level of consciousness, but the rest of the other parts of us take a little bit longer to kind of go into this consciousness. And the reason is because we have been embedded in these lower levels of consciousness in this 3D reality for a while. And what ends up happening is that our mind and our bodies, the cells that actually compose our bodies, they start to vibrate at a certain frequency. They take on templatings and dense energies and fear-based thought forms and all kinds of different things while we're down here. So when these fifth dimensional energies start hitting us, when they start challenging us to ascend, it's a little bit difficult because it literally requires our bodies and our minds to change. It requires our bodies and our minds to purge a significant amount of things that they had in them that are no longer, that can no longer exist in fifth dimensional consciousness, all right? And another reason that these energies have been really challenging is because although we have always had, or at least in the last couple thousands years, we've had the energies of fifth dimension here for some mystics and some people to live in. Now these energies are coming in at increased concentration. So basically the whole planet is being bombarded with an intensity of 5D energies that it never has before. And here's another thing that's happening that makes this even a little bit more challenging. The evolution of planet Earth, the evolution of the universe is accelerating, okay? We know this scientifically, that the universe is expanding at ever faster rates, okay? What this means is that up until now, we may not realize this, but the rock that we're standing on, this beautiful planet, it's a sentient being and it evolves also. She has her own consciousness and she evolves also, and we happen to be living on top of her. So up until now, Gaia, this beautiful planet, she has allowed third and fifth dimensional energies to coexist on this planet, but she's not allowing that anymore. So she's basically pulling herself, she's already pulled herself into fifth dimensional energy, and now she's saying, hey guys, if you want to stay on this planet, you got to move with me. And so that's why this has really been a challenging time for us, because the whole planet is ascending into fifth dimension. We're being bombarded with fifth dimension unity consciousness codes, and we are having to shed and change our biology and our minds at a faster rate than ever before. Evolution used to be a very chill thing. We would evolve slowly, everything was good, we'd come in one life, we'd leave, we'd come back, and there was a slower pace to evolution. It's not happening that way anymore. We are being called to evolve at ever faster rates, all right? So that's why this has all been really challenging. But here's the cool thing about this. Your body and your mind, all parts of you have the capacity to make these transitions into 5D. But here's what's happening on a more technical level, just so you get a better understanding of the behind the scenes of all of this. Your body, you look at me, you're looking at me in this video, and my body looks like it's this one thing. It's like a bag of bones, okay? A bag of meat and bones. And you look at my body, and I can look at your body, and it looks like it's one thing, but it's not. Our bodies are composed of 40 trillion cells. Isn't that incredible? 40 trillion cells, and each one of them is a sentient being. So really what our bodies are is a community of 40 trillion cells that are all working together to kind of keep this all together. Okay? So imagine the challenge of 40 trillion sentient beings being bombarded with light codes. Now, what does this mean actually on a technical level? I like to use the example of a dog. When a dog goes in the water, have you ever seen what happens to a dog when he comes out of the water? What's the first thing a dog does? He shakes, all right? And he just a few shakes, and then suddenly the dog 1 minute was drenched, and then the next minute seems like it's completely dry. Why? Because he's shaking really fast. That's what's happening to our cells, our 40 trillion cells. As we're getting bombarded with 5D codes, our cells start to vibrate at a really rapid rate. And this vibration, this very intense, quick vibration, causes the cells to let go, to shed all of the old programming, dense energy, belief systems, thought forms, ancestral energy, cultural beliefs. All of these things are being shed the faster my cells vibrate, all right? And that can be really challenging. But there's one part of us that has a little bit more difficulties than the other, and that's the mind. Okay, the mind has even more difficulties transitioning to these new 5D codes than the body does. And I went to a recent ayahuasca ceremony, and the plant during the ceremony told me multiple times that we needed to learn how to trust the body because the body knew what it was doing. And it took me a really long time to unpack this knowledge, but I finally understood it. We still live in a culture that prizes the mind over the body. Even in spiritual and personal development circles, you hear a lot about how thoughts change your biology, how thoughts change your life. And this is true to a certain degree. But what we're missing from this puzzle is that a lot of times the body is also immensely wise, and it has a lot to teach the mind too. And when it comes to this ascension process, it's certainly true that the body and the heart, I consider the heart and the body to be working in unison. So sometimes I use the two simultaneously. They're kind of synonyms to me. The heart and body work together. And so the body, to me, the body is already vibrating in fifth dimensional consciousness, but our minds are kind of a little bit stuck. They're stuck in old beliefs. They're even stuck with the symptoms, because as the body starts to vibrate really fast, as these 40 trillion cells start to vibrate with a lot of intensity, the mind can very frequently interpret that as a red flag. Hello, mayday, mayday, something's wrong, okay? And it can start creating havoc and chaos within the system. So this is just kind of some general, to give you a general understanding of why it can be so challenging to ascend into the fifth dimension. And it really is just because these intense light codes, these light codes of love and unity, can be temporarily difficult for the body and the mind to adjust to. But we're all getting there, and we will all get there. And this is just something temporary. Now, when I say temporary, I mean years. I don't mean temporary a few hours or a few days. I mean years, but years is still temporary in the grand scheme of things. There's one more particular challenge I wanted to talk about in part 2, and that is a challenge that has to do really with the depths of the mind, okay? Now, here's what's going on internally, all right? Remember when I said a little while ago that planet Earth she kind of allowed 2 levels of consciousness to coexist for a while? Really what that means is that on the planet, we've been living in a kind of a sense of disconnection. There was one reality over here, and there was one reality over there, and they didn't really meet or mingle, okay? And that's kind of, we lived in this state of disconnection on the planet for a really long time. Well, guess what? The planet, the universe serves as a macrocosm. Our bodies, our minds, and our souls are a microcosm of the macrocosm, okay? So what do I mean by this? That same disconnection has been occurring in us, and it's been the disconnection between body, heart, and mind. Okay, so this has been playing out recently, especially in these intense energies, with the mind holding a really strong grip. For some reason, my guides haven't really told me why it is that the mind has a lot more difficulty than the heart and the body to adjust to these new energies. But I can theorize, I suspect that it's just because the brain, the mind, has a lot of baggage that the rest of us, the other parts of us don't. There's a lot of baggage, a lot of stories, a lot of templating that the mind has. So maybe the mind just has a lot more trash to work through than the rest of the body does. But regardless, the mind seems to be having a lot more trouble in this acceleration process than the body is. I've already shared that the body, the cells, our cells are actually already vibrating in fifth dimension. But what's going on is this: the mind will very frequently it'll keep repeating old thought patterns. Now, see if this has happened to you recently, where maybe you're lying in bed or you're waking up in the morning or you're about to fall asleep, and then suddenly your mind starts to worry about something. Just out of the blue, you start to worry about something. And then you go down that thought, and pretty soon there's a wormhole of thoughts, and suddenly you're lying in bed about to fall asleep, and your whole body is feeling anxious and kind of tight and constricted. Why is this? The reason is that the body and the heart, it's not allowing the mind to go down these wormholes, because it will signal immediately that the mind is disconnected. It will show the mind its disconnection by creating various symptoms. And this has happened to me recently. It actually took me a few days to realize that this is what was happening, until I caught myself. And I'm going to teach you in a little while how to work with this specific disconnection. But this is another reason that I wanted to point out, this specific mind reason for why we're having so many challenges in this acceleration. It's that the body, the cells are already up there in fifth dimension, but the mind keeps repeating certain old thought patterns. But those old thought patterns are vibrating really in a really dense energy, and the body's just not going to have it anymore. The body's like, nope, I will not accept that energy. You got to think something else, because otherwise I'm going to start giving you symptoms to show you that you're disconnected. No more disconnection. That's what the body is telling the mind. The body is trying to teach the mind that there shall be no more inner disconnection. There shall be no more mind thinking in 3D and body vibrating in 5D. No more disconnection. There's got to be union, unity consciousness, all right? So I wanted to bring this up as a specific thing, because I've been hearing a lot from people saying that they've had old relationship issues come up. They've had old fears. They've just had scarcity mindsets come up, and they have no idea where these thoughts are coming from. It's just the mind trying to repeat old patterns, but those old patterns, those old thought forms, they are becoming increasingly uncomfortable to think, because the rest of yourself is already in fifth dimension, and it's not going to allow this disconnection. It won't allow you to wallow in 3D when it comes to your mind. Now on to part number 3, and that is the 2 essential skills that you need to master in this new energy. So the 2 skills, they're 2 very easy skills, but this is going to come in handy, especially as you're navigating these intense energies. The first one is called connect, and the second one is called redirect, okay? So what's this first one, connect? What is this skill? The skill of connect is simply that you are going to now really start understanding that when it comes to this process of ascension into the 5th dimension, the body is already there and can teach the mind so much, okay? The body-heart complex is already there, all right? So here's what I want you to do. In this connect skill, what this really means is that you're going to start learning, and this may seem easy, but for so many of us, it's hard. It's hard for us to connect to our bodies because we've been looking at our bodies as some kind of like, you know, bag of bones, and we just walk around. We're constantly walking around in our heads. We don't even pay attention to our bodies, let alone talk to it. So now that you know that your body isn't like this bag of meat and bones, that it's a highly intelligent community of 40 trillion sentient beings, now that you understand that that's what your body is, you're going to learn how to communicate with it and connect with it deeply, because your body is already in 5th dimension. So your body is going to teach your mind something, okay? So what you're going to do in this connect skill is you're going to do everything that you possibly can to come into connection with your body. One of my favorite ways of doing that is connecting to nature, spending as much time as possible outdoors. When you're in nature, you're intrinsically in your body, because guess what? Your body is in nature. So the body is very animalistic at times. So when you look at a bird out in nature, you know that the bird is in nature and the bird is one with nature. When you look at a fish, you know the fish is one with nature, okay? We're the only species that somehow successfully is able to try and disconnect ourselves from our natural kind of connection with nature. Every other species knows exactly how to connect with nature. So the moment that you step outside and you go into nature, you will be in your body because your body is in nature, okay? So spend as much time as possible outdoors, a beach, a forest, even if it's just a park that you have access to, that's fine. Go sit on a park bench if you have to. But spend as much time as you possibly can outdoors in nature, okay? So that's one way. Another way that I love doing is just sitting in meditation, closing my eyes. I don't have any music usually on for this one. This is a pretty simple mindfulness meditation. I just sit, I close my eyes, and I bring my awareness from my mind down into my body, and I start talking to my body, okay? I talk to my body like I would talk to a teacher or a master. Remember, your body is already in 5th dimension, so your mind has to figure out how the body got there. So it has to ask questions. So you close your eyes, you're in meditation, and you ask the body, what do you need from me? How can I help you? Can you tell me a little bit more? Can you help me a little bit more how to get into the 5th dimension? And I've been doing this recently, and it's really amazing. Like, even when I've been going through difficulties, because this energy has been intense for everybody, including myself. And if you follow me on social media, you know on social media it's pretty a daily thing. I'm sharing things that are going on in my life. So if you don't follow me on social media, go follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll see I've been going through challenges too. And what I've been discovering is that when my mind starts to freak out and I start to get anxious, I sit down, and it maybe takes just a minute. I take a deep breath and I connect to my body, and as soon as I connect to my body, I sense that my body is completely at peace. My body is already there. It's just my mind that's freaking out. So I want you to learn how to do this too. Come into connection with your body in any way that you can. You can do this through dance. You can do this through body work like massage. There are a bunch of ways you can come into connection with your body, but especially this skill of learning how to talk to your body, now that you know that it's a community of 40 trillion sentient beings, this is going to change everything for you, because it's going to help you navigate these energies with more calm and peace. The second skill is called redirect, okay? So what does this mean? What is this skill? The skill of redirect goes like this. You're going to start observing and being very mindful of the thoughts going on in your mind, especially in these two occasions during the day. Right as you're falling asleep and right as you're waking up in the morning, okay? These are two critical times of day where the monkey mind will start to get active. It could get active in other parts of the day, but I've been finding through personal experience that these two times of the day are really when the monkey mind is starting to get agitated, okay? But regardless, you're going to observe the thoughts that are going on in your mind, and as soon as you observe a thought that's based in fear, that's based in scarcity, a thought that is maybe demeaning to you, that you're not good enough, a thought that's about insecurities, that you're not worthy enough. You know what I'm talking about, right? All of those negative thought forms that kind of push us down, all right? When you observe one of these thought forms, you're just going to observe it, but you're not going to get involved with it, because in these intense energies, you know what's going to happen if you let yourself be taken by a thought? It's going to turn into 2 thoughts, then 3, then a whole Hollywood movie, and then suddenly you're in total panic mode. Okay, that's what these intense energies do. They give momentum to energy very quickly. So what you're going to do is you're going to be very conscious about your thoughts. You're going to observe them when you feel a scarcity-based or fear-based, a 3-dimensional based thought form coming up. You're going to observe it, and you're just going to let it go, okay? Sometimes you may already be a little bit into the Hollywood storyline by the time you catch yourself, because the monkey mind is really good at starting those repetitive thoughts. without us even noticing. So your body may start signaling to you. If you start to feel agitated and nervous or worried, you know that your monkey mind has already been active for a while, okay? But no matter if you catch it on the first thought or if you catch it on the 10th thought, that's fine. You're going to observe it and you're going to let the thought go. You're going to take a nice deep breath and you're going to let the thought go. And then the crucial thing that you have to do, that's why this skill is called redirect. You have to not just let it go, but you must redirect your attention to a new thought. Okay, a new thought that's not fear-based, that's not scarcity-based, okay? This is crucial in the rewiring of your brain, all right? You can't just let the other thought go. You have to tell the brain what you want to think, okay? So you have to redirect to a different thought. So it could look something like this. Let's say you wake up and you're just you start to get worried about, I want to change my career and I have no idea how I'm going to pay my bills. And you just start going down and you start to get worried and then more worried. And then you catch yourself. You take a nice deep breath and you observe the thought, you let it go, and then you redirect to an inner dialogue that goes something like this. I don't have to have this figured out just now. Everything is okay. I am provided for by this beautiful infinite universe that's always taking care of me. Everything is always working out for me. I will find the right job or the right career that will bring in an abundance of money. I don't have to worry. You see, doesn't it feel good to just totally redirect the story? It feels good. Your body will immediately calm down when you start doing this. After a while of redirecting, the old thought forms, they'll just simply stop popping up because your brain has now been rewired with superhighways to more optimistic, positive thoughts and less negative thought forms, okay? So this redirect is the second skill, and it's a super, super powerful one, especially because the mind is the one that's having a little bit more difficulties with this acceleration process. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been feeling these intense energies? And most importantly, what have you been doing to kind of keep yourself balanced? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have a question that you'd like me to answer in my weekly videos, leave them in the comments also with the hashtag AskChristina. Don't forget that hashtag. Now, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or head over here to my website and take my heart quiz to find out if your heart is blocked. And if you enjoyed this video, check it out. I curated more for you over here that I know you're going to enjoy, so stick around. I love you, beautiful soul. We're doing great. I am out.